between clubs from Argentina and Brazil. Fluminense do play their home games in the magnificent Maracanã. Boca nominally the home team tonight. It is noisy and vibrant though from both sets of supporters as the trophy makes its anticipated arrival.
Yeah, never understated, and why should it be? And it is an incredible trophy again. All the trophies you see around world football, that is one of the ones that every single player that's South American wants. He wants to win it, he wants to hold it one day, he wants to be part of it, the history of it, because the history is extraordinary. A lot of the greatest players in the world, you know, they're in tears if they end up winning this trophy and they hold this trophy up.
Yep. Perhaps slightly different to the European equivalent, the Champions League final, where the finalists do not necessarily get the opportunity to rest key players. What have you made of the approach of the two clubs ahead of tonight? This has been the all-out focus over the course of the last month. The two sides tonight bear no resemblance to the teams that started their most recent domestic games.
Well, that is the difference. I mean, if you look at Champions League, you know, you rotate your squad a little bit, you move it in and out. You have to do well in your national leagues, particularly the Premier League. You can't send out weakened teams in the Premier League. Not the case here, because everyone wants to win it. Even that man, even a man who's won so much in his career, wants to win this, because to go out in something like this, you know, he's not the youngest Marcelo, but if he won this, it would right up the pantheon, one of his favourite moments of his career.
This would be just the 15th player to have both the Champions League medal in their collection and also to have won the Copa Libertadores. Two of South America's most storied clubs, eternal glory awaits one of them. Boca Juniors emerge for their 12th Copa Libertadores final. 6 times they've claimed the continental crown. Twice, though, the showpiece occasion has been lost since their most recent success. Pressure, but also expectation at the 16-year wait ends here. As for Fluminense, well, they are Rio's oldest club, but the Libertadores is an accolade that has consistently eluded them. 15 years on from their only previous final, there is optimism that the stars have finally aligned. Form and the fortune of home soil are in their favour tonight.
Señoras y señores, nos ponemos en posición para el himno nacional de Argentina. Senhoras e senhores, o hino nacional do Brasil. Senhoras e senhores, a continuación, el hino nacional de Brasil.
understandably. Emotions getting the better of one or two, even vastly experienced players. Such is the sense of occasion. And whilst the game might be in Rio, the tens of thousands who have travelled from Argentina to support Boca have certainly made themselves heard. $87,000 flight tickets between Buenos Aires and Rio sold in the days ahead of this game. Many others have made the trip by road. There is one enforced change to the Boca side that started both legs of their semi-finals. Defender Marcos Rojo's suspended and is replaced by Nicolas Valentini. However, two other former Manchester United players are involved. Goalkeeper Sergio Romero and Edinson Cavani. Valentin Barco is the emerging talent of this Boca side. Miguel Merentiel is a striker with 4 goals in his last 3 appearances. Certainly Valentin Barco is the one to look out for from a Boca point of view tonight. Interesting, the likes of Manchester City and Brighton.
Yeah, 19-year-old. Scores goals, but creates them as well. Always a danger.
But talking about scoring goals, no one has more in the competition this season than Fluminense's Herman Cano. His 12, as many as Boca have scored in total.
He's been basically unstoppable. And if you thought beforehand who was going to score, most likely to be celebrating under that great statue, it would be Cano.
An iconic setting and stadium. Pressure on Jorge Almiron, who is the Boca head coach, knowing that it could be another attritional night for his side, who've had to win 3 penalty shootouts to get to this final. Sergio Romero is the captain of Boca Juniors. Nino fit and available to lead Fluminense. The Colombian referee Wilmar Roldan struggling to make himself heard over the din. Well, as for Fluminense, 2 changes from the second leg of their semi-final. Right back, Samuel Javier returns from suspension, and midfielder Mateus Martinelli starts in this competition for the first time since the group stage. Captain Nino's recovered from that knee injury he suffered on international duty. 43-year-old goalkeeper Fabio makes a 100th Copa Libertadores appearance. Marcelo, once of Real Madrid, is out to complete the Europe and South American double. 5 times he won the Champions League during his time at the Bernabeu. Well, a warm embrace between the 2 head coaches, who know much of their legacy depends, Pat Nevin, on what happens over the course of the next potentially 2 hours and penalties.
An interesting is Davies, who's made a little bit of a change. It looks tactically, a go for a 4-2-3-1. Quite often they plump for a diamond in midfield and the 2 up front. Not doing that this time, so we'll see what sort of effect that has in the game. There will be adaptations as the game goes on, but the tactics will be important. But you feel almost they're secondary in this game. It is about the passion, it is about who can cope with the stresses that are always involved in this game, and who's going to be calm and who can bring their best game to this special night.
Who can control those emotions that we saw during the anthems?
Yeah, and I'm always looking at, you know, the players during the anthems and during the walkout. Who looks nervous, who's trying to, you know, who looks focused, who looks as if they're not only up for it, but know what they're doing and feel as if they should be living there.
Well, here we go. This is the end game. An historic night ahead. Either Boca's record equaling 7th Copa Libertadores triumph, or a long overdue first for Fluminense. Dealing with the pressure, dealing with the anticipation and the expectation could be absolutely critical to which of these sides gets the job done. That experience at the back for Fluminense, having Nino, who's in possession of the ball, back available after a 5-match layoff, injured in Uruguay ahead of Brazil's international there last month. The angst about the possibility of him missing this game, I can only draw a comparison with the situation regarding David Beckham's availability for a major tournament for England back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many players out there who could be the important ones. I'm looking at Ganzo in particular, you know, a player who's, you know, one of the most delightful players to watch. He's so elegant when he's on the ball, but that's when he's been given space. We shall see if the Argentinians give him any space.
Boca have had an extraordinary route to this final. Haven't won any of their 6 knockout games, all 3 of the ties decided by penalty shootouts after draws. So in terms of the fluency with which they have been playing, certainly Fluminense are the favourites, having won 4 of the last 5 in this competition. Cano involved for the first time. And behind it goes for the game's first corner kick, won by Martinelli.
Yep, he's got quite far forward. Sometimes he stays a little bit further back, sits sometimes alongside Andre, but he's getting further forward there. Corner kick, the first one. They're going to attack it. There's so many Fluminense players in the box.
Nino and Felipe Melo both forward. Marcelo across to deliver. As Boca have found games difficult to win, they've not lost too many along the way, and no side in the competition has conceded as few as their 5 goals. And then Cano, alive and alert inside opposition territory for the first time and going to ground. A little too theatrically to encourage Vilma Rodan to think about a penalty.
I think we're getting 5.7, 5.6 for that.
Here's Keno. The turn pass doesn't reach him. Nicolas Figal saw to that.
I mean, it's not a surprise that the game has started mostly in Boca's half of the field. They're going to defend. They defend well. You've just mentioned that they're on the way here. They lost so few goals, particularly in the knockout stages. And of course, being the home ground for Fluminense always helps.
Here's Marcelo, who plays from left back rather than at left back for Fluminense. This was the first decision of the evening for Vilma Rodan to think about.
I think it's quite obvious he's run into the defender there. Better view from it here. Oh, you know, you see it from that angle. You wonder, you know, the pressure on everyone, but the pressure on the officials as well. It's incredible.
Luis Advincola was the player getting the benefit of the doubt. He might not get it again. Away by Samuel Javier, further forward by Martinelli. There's Keno looking to hurdle a challenge. There's Andre. Felipe Melo. Marcelo. Vincola stands his ground.
Very noticeable that Boca won't chase it. They're going to chase into corners. We understand Cavani won't be doing that anymore. I mean, maybe when he was younger he would do that quite a lot, chase everything, but he needs to conserve his energy to some degree.
Felipe Melo, who has won this competition twice previously. He did so in successive seasons with Palmeiras. 2020 and 2021, his experience might just be vital tonight. Busy work from Herman Cano. Here's Samuel Javier, who was sent off when Fluminense were leading 1-0 against Internacional in the first leg of their semi-final. They had to come from behind to level it up at 2-2 before winning the second leg 2-1. Keno down and seemingly requiring treatment.
I have to say that. The referee's saying he doesn't see a great deal in that. I thought he came through the back of him there. The old-fashioned let him know you're there. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, there's a little flick out of the back there. That's a free kick. Definitely should be a free kick.
And again, it is the Peruvian right-back Luis Advíncula, who has twice now found favour with the referee.
He's treading a very fine line this early in the game. He's got away with it twice. Should get away with it again.
Maybe a measure of how much Boca has struggled for goals in this season's tournament, that man Advíncula has scored 3 of their 12.
There's an interesting pairing down the left-hand side for Fluminense. You know, Keno's obviously got good pace, very, very good pace. To try and get the ball up to him as high up the pitch as possible. And it's him having an understanding with Marcelo. Again, that could make a huge difference in this game.
There is Marcelo, who is given freedom to push into areas of space, like lots of these Fluminense players are under the guidance of Fernando Diniz. Martinelli. Felipe Melo. Some pressure being applied. Keno up against Advíncula again. Couldn't find Martinelli with the pass. That will be a Boca free kick.
Very, very clear trying to get Keno on the ball all the time. They seem to think Advíncula is some sort of weakness. You know, he's diving in, he should have given away 2 free kicks, not been given yet, but every time anyone gets the ball on the left-hand side, they'll zip it as quickly as they can and get it to that man, Keno. He's got pace, he's not got by his defender yet, but you can see that's what they want to do.
It's Valentini, who's deputising at the heart of the Boca defence for Marcos Rojo. His experience, his leadership qualities, his organisation of the Boca defence will all be missed after he was shown 2 yellow cards in the second leg of their semi-final, which was eventually decided on penalties against Palmeiras. And Advíncula this time will be punished, at least to the tune of a free kick for that collision that he executed with Keno.
Do you know what? It's so obvious so early on. I mean, he's rash. He's clearly rash. I mean, he's had 2 already. It's very, very noticeable. And that looked like a block. You know, I'll make sure I block him. Now, I don't think he's injured, Keno, but he's making the referee aware of the fact that he's going past him and he's just getting taken out of play time after time. You just cannot keep on doing that.
As you might expect, though, for a final, the bar for a yellow card has clearly been set quite high.
Yeah, but the referee can't keep on ignoring that. And I think he is almost ignoring it. And he's given a free kick there, but Marcelo's having a little word with him, but he was up there putting a bit of pressure on. My Portuguese isn't great, so I'm not sure what he was saying.
Might just fancy having a run at him himself, Marcelo, even at the age of 35. This was, though, to be expected. Fluminense dominating the possession, despite having lost 4 of their last 6 games since clinching their place in the final. There's been laser-sharp focus on this occasion. Other matters have been demoted in terms of their importance. Felipe Melo. Edinson Cavani again unable to get on the ball. He will have to be feeding off scraps, judging by what we've seen in the opening 11 minutes. John Arias. A little too much there required. And Boca holding firm.
They are holding firm. There's no surprise, as you say. I mean, that back line doesn't move much, the back four, but the two Fernandes, they just sit in front, don't they? They just try and make sure that nothing is easily getting through to the forwards, particularly to Cano.
Well, they are desperately trying to get under that man's skin. They are testing him physically and mentally. Fluminense. Marcelo forward, but into no man's land as far as a teammate was concerned. Clearance from Valentini, charge down. And that will keep Boca deep inside their own half.
You would expect now Fluminense to go up and close down there. The last place you want to throw in, right beside your own corner flag. And try to close in that area, get the ball back. Winning the ball high up the pitch is always the best place to win it, obviously.
Nino. Cavani arrived, but a fraction too late as far as the referee was concerned.
I mean, the referee's very close here. Cavani feels as if he got the ball pretty clean. They have a suspicion he'll survive.
He's seen it off Samuel Javier. Free kick one. Marcelo seemingly the most likely to deliver. John Arias is the other player available to take if required. And from Marcelo, they got a flick straight into the arms of Sergio Romero, who makes his first save of the night comfortably.
Yeah, it does, but the quality you get from Marcelo, you know, whatever has changed in his game over the years, he's always had that quality. Very difficult ball that wants to defend, you know. Keeper can't come for it. Low trajectory, real quality.
Has been brilliant for Boca on the run to the final. Sergio Romero, 8 clean sheets in the competition, never present throughout the 12-match run to the Copa Libertadores final. Marcelo beyond the reach of Keno. Julian Alvarez, the most recent player to complete the Copa Libertadores and Champions League double after winning the European version with Manchester City last season. It is an illustrious list, though, that Marcelo is looking to join this evening. The likes of Neymar, Carlos Tevez, Cafu, Ronaldinho, Walter Samuel, amongst the others to have done that particular double. Merentiel, purposeful break, Cavani in support, Barco as well. Merentiel opted to go for goal himself, and that's the first action that Fabio's seen.
That just sums up what Boca's game plan is. It's quite obvious to see they're going to soak up as much pressure as possible, but they know they have got quality players up front. And that time Cavani, I think he wanted the ball and slipped through to him there. He may be a bit annoyed with Merentiel, but less than, I mean, 80% possession and more the Fluminense have got so far. You can see the game plan. It's very, very clear, and it has worked for Boca. It's got them all the way here.
is Barco, who's not had much of an opportunity to show us what he is capable of just yet. Happy to take their time when they get the ball in these sorts of areas. Boca and then look to come alive, but Samuel Xavier can carry the ball clear. The 10 Brazilian clubs have won this competition. It is absolutely remarkable that Fluminense aren't one of them. They have suffered pain in a final before, lost on penalties in a two-legged final against Quito back in 2008. This is the only second showpiece occasion that they have been a part of. Fabra nodding it down for Barco. Play stupendously well, but Boca will hope to use that as a platform to apply some pressure. Merentiel's layoff for Barco. In towards Cavani, who inexplicably opted not to turn and face goal himself.
Well, I mean, his run was brilliant. The timing of it seemed really tight for offside. You don't know if it would have been or not, but he was put through there. And Cavani of old, he'd just go and take that. You know, want to get on his left foot and try and get a shot off. But you see what they're like. As soon as they get a little bit of a break, they come alive, particularly the two front players.
The next semi-final second leg against Palmeiras, Edinson Cavani scored the Boca goal in a 1-1 draw. Actually missed in the shootout. Took the first penalty, thanks to the brilliance of Sergio Romero in the Boca goal. There was no serious harm, no lasting harm done in terms of that miss. Marcelo forward, but not able to link up with Keno on that occasion.
Well, he has continued to try and do so. I think Boca will be a little bit happier these last 4 or 5 minutes. They've got into the final third a couple of times, and you understand it. I mean, you're playing away from home really, and you've got the entire, not the entire club, but a huge number of the crowd against you. You've got to survive that first 15 or so minutes, get to about 20, and then maybe release a little bit after that. We shall see if they do.
Ceremoniously forward by Marcelo. That'll be a Boca free kick for the challenge on Eki Fernandez.
I think this suits Boca, doesn't it? Slow the game down, make it a bit bitty. Don't allow Fluminense to get into their stride, control the ball, keep Boca chasing it.
If it becomes a war of attrition, then Boca might suddenly become the favourites. For the time being, though, that tag remains with Fluminense. Away by Valentini, who had to be strong and determined. And then Fabra hits the ground under a challenge from John Arias. And the Flu supporters are not convinced about that decision.
Again, it's foul after foul. They know what they're doing. They put themselves in a position as soon as they're feeling anything. No, it's more than feeling it. He's taking them out there completely.
Eki Fernandez finding Advíncula. Marcelo. Be a free kick for handball, I think, against Cavani.
And it is classically one of those wins when you're playing a game and you think, try and quieten the home crowd down. Good luck with that.
Cano. Well, he's probably earned the right to have a shot whenever he sees a white to the post. That wasn't his best, though.
No, that was never on. He's got to try and run, get into the box, you know. Ask the question of the defenders there. It was nice, neat little play. Most of the best play from Fluminense had come down this left-hand side. And that was a neat little bit of play, but you've got to get the ball under control. That's never going to beat anyone, that shot.
A reminder that Match of the Day is coming up tonight, 20 past 10, BBC One. Got live WSL action for you on BBC Two tomorrow lunchtime. Arsenal versus Manchester City, two of the title hopefuls. And Match of the Day live, FA Cup round 1 action. BBC Two, 5:15 tomorrow. Charlton Athletic versus Cray Valley Paper Mills. Can't say we're not bringing you a variety of football this weekend on the BBC. Yes, John Arias with the challenge that has met with the approval of the Fluminense fans, who are dominating that far side of the Maracanã. It is familiar territory for them, but Boca travel in such numbers wherever they go that it makes it feel like they're at home at times, and those who haven't got a ticket to be inside the stadium or watching in the fan zone on Copacabana Beach, extraordinary that a large number of them have made the 1,700-mile journey by road.
It is extraordinary, except that it's Boca. And if it was River Plate, they'd be exactly the same. The huge numbers that follow these teams, they want to be there if they're going to celebrate one of the great moments in their history.
It was in this stadium earlier on in the competition, in the group stages, that River, Boca's great Buenos Aires rivals, suffered their heaviest ever defeat in this competition at the hands of Fluminense by 5-1. That is the greatest demonstration of what they are capable of, based on the evidence of this season. Martinelli getting away from Valentini, unable to find Cano. Medina back helping out defensively, and away by Figal.
It's a little disappointment there. Ball played in from the right. If you're in the left wing there, you should be getting in there. Should be, there's Keno. He's just too slow to get into that back post. That's what you do when the ball's coming in from the right. You trap the back post. If you're a wide player.
Rentiel. Wide it goes for Fabra, who's not had too many opportunities to get forward. This is Paulo Henrique Ganso. Arias has emerged on the left rather than the right-hand side for a moment, but was unable to keep the ball in play right in front of the Boca head coach Jorge Almiron. Marco allowing Fabra to take over. This is Christian Medina. Advíncula, promising for Boca. If Advíncula can get the better of Keno. And in the end, Advíncula settles for the throw off Marcelo.
Nice little bit of skill there for Advíncula. A little step over and drag back. One of the many fullbacks who seems to prefer going forward than defending. Well, he likes defending, but so far not necessarily in a fair way. It looks good running it, and if he can do that, if he can push that man Keno back further, that will certainly help Boca in their situation.
one back by Andre, the player who is of very serious interest to Liverpool, the Fluminense number 7. Talk that a verbal agreement has already been reached for him to make the move to the Premier League, maybe as soon as January. Some thought that it might have happened during the summer transfer window if the promise of Fluminense winning this competition wasn't as strong as it's proved to be. John Arias up against Valentini. Samuel Javier. You wouldn't rule it out. You wouldn't say he's not capable of converting something like that.
You know, the other thing is he's tried two rather extreme efforts to goal. Neither have come anywhere near close. This is much, much earlier. And you're absolutely right when you said, why doesn't he just drag it on? You know, he had a little look forward, so he knows there's no one between him and the goal. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get a tackle. You never know what can happen there. I think he's probably furious with himself now. Already thinking back, there'll be very limited opportunities for Cavani.
Will spend a year with Valencia after his 2 seasons with Manchester United before making the move to Boca in July. Edinson Cavani. This is actually his first season playing in the Copa Libertadores. Determined play, Andre it was, eventually getting back to put the ball behind, but Medina wasn't too far away from getting in and around his marker.
And that was always the thought of Marcelo. You know, he's not going to be as lightning quick now, so that area, if you can get into that area behind him, he's not going to catch you. And that time he was caught out slightly. His teammate helped him out.
Valentin Barco to deliver this Boca corner, but opts instead to go short with it to Paul Fernandez. And Barco is caught in possession by John Arias, who has been unsubtly hauled back. But something else has got the attention of referee Vilmar Roldan.
You know, there was the pullback there of the shot, so if he hadn't called it earlier, there's no doubt in my mind it had to give a yellow card, but has he spotted this? To be honest, I think he runs towards him. Valentin, he runs towards it. Yeah.
It's Valentini and Ganso, the 2 players involved, rutting stags.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I'd be blaming the Boca player there. What's the referee going to do? I think sometimes you think the referee's indecision is the biggest part of this game so far. He wants out of a hole, doesn't he? He doesn't want to make that decision about whether it was a deliberate rutting, as you suggest it was.
Something he will have prepared himself for, though, is shenanigans.
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to get it completely quiet. He's being surrounded now by Fluminense players. You can understand why. You know, the best thing you could have for this game to help it a bit would actually be a Fluminense goal, and it would open it out a little bit. But I think there's a lot of fear at the moment, as nobody wants to make the mistake. We've seen many finals over the years where nobody wants to be the one, if you make a mistake, you are remembered forever on your entire continent for that, and I think that's having a big effect in the game right now.
The cards continue to remain in the pocket.
I think he knows they might be needed later.
Suggesting that not to wear them out early on. They could be a long evening ahead. Felipe Melo. Here's Ganso. It's absolutely critical to the way that Fernando Diniz likes to play his football. The Fluminense head coach, who's actually doubling up as the interim head coach of the Brazil national team at the moment. 4 games into that particular job. 2 wins, a draw and a defeat, most recently in World Cup qualification. And so aiming for a defence-splitting pass into the path of John Arias, who is now able to get on the loose ball. Samuel Javier. Look where Marcelo is currently stationed as a right winger.
I mean, they're everywhere. Ganso should be the 10, and he spent the last couple of minutes beside the two centre-backs. He's doing anything to get space because he's getting no space in the area that he would prefer to work in. There's two Boca players there sitting in midfield, killing that space.
Arias up against Eki Fernandez. Oh, the ball nicely here, Fluminense. Medina as well stationed when the ball came back to the edge of the penalty area. Advíncula carries it clear. The pass towards Cavani was nowhere near accurate enough and well anticipated by Andre. A free kick for the challenge on Marcelo. However, that challenge on Barco won't go unpunished.
It's very clear just now, Fluminense are trying to mix it up a little bit, ask different questions. Players moving, being very adaptable. It's not quite working yet. There's been a slight disappointment seeing so little of Ganso so far. I mean, he's such an elegant player, he's so good in the ball. He's tried a few in the 30 or 40 yard through passes, but it's been the eye of a needle.
Yet to seriously spark into life the 64th Copa Libertadores final, the first since 2019 that is not an all-Brazilian affair.
Do you know, the referee, look at the view the referee's got of that. He's got to be able to see that. Once again, you know, Boca, I think, have got very, very fortunate.
There was lead up to the clash of heads that we already knew about. In towards Cavani, layoff. Chance here. Flag is up. Fabio saves, wouldn't have counted, but momentarily Boca looked in business.
Cavani looked well offside to me. You know, he's trying to take a chance. I think in his previous opportunity, he probably thought he was offside. That's why he half stopped, but miles off here.
Spared the officials a decision to make, though, as Andre looked to poke the ball away from Valentin Barco. Martinelli, perhaps the one surprise in the two starting lineups, that Martinelli got the nod ahead of Alexander, who have been starting more recently in the Copa Libertadores for Fluminense. Here's Nino, the player that they were so thrilled to have back and available for today. He's been caught in possession, but no serious harm down. Sheer weight of numbers in favour of Fluminense. Here comes John Arias, who will be more than happy under those circumstances to settle for the corner.
I think we'll have to keep a very close eye on a number of players at this corner kick. There's so much going on off the ball here. They're best friends again.
Marcelo across to whip in this set piece. Into a decent area as well, and it was met by Nino, and he clearly feels as though that was a decent opportunity.
Yeah, he's came from quite deep. He's had a run on the defenders as well. It's a clean header. If you get in that sort of situation, you really should get a little bit closer than that. It's a fairly clear header. I know there's players near him, but no one's actually challenging them. So you should really be getting that on target.
They did get a goal during the group stages of the competition. A 1-0 win over the Bolivian side, the strongest. Started the group stage really positively. Fluminense won their opening 3, but in the end only finished top of the section on goal difference ahead of River Plate. That 5-1 win over River here proved decisive in terms of which one went through at the summit of the section. Mello with the booming pass forward. Ganso is now a little bit further forward to try and make things happen. Cano! Of course he scores! Fluminense's main man in the Copa Libertadores this season has fired them in front.
It is the first time they have got beyond the defence. They've got to the byline. There's a neat little 1-2 down there. Use the pace there, but there's still so much for him to do. It's almost half behind him, but the power he gets, the angle, that's the angle of a natural goal scorer. He's had two really average efforts so far. There's nothing average about that one.
Well, he scored in both games in the quarterfinals, both games in the semi-finals. Now he has scored in the final. His 13th goal in the competition this season. It might just go down as a monumental, historic Fluminense goal.
We were talking before the game about the two players we were looking at. We've not seen so much from Boca, but he's been in there getting into the right positions, Herman Cano. And he just peels off like a classic centre-forward does. Don't need to go in there. If there's two defenders in there, go where the defenders aren't. The simplest thing, go where they are not. And he pulls off, gets that little bit of space, and you look at it, it's never in doubt. As soon as he hits it, he catches it as clean as you like. Bottom corner, keeper can't get near it. Now we should have a game on.
An outpouring of jubilation. A moment that they have long waited for. The Fluminense supporters inside the Maracanã to see their side in front in a one-off Copa Libertadores final, and in a position now to go on and win the competition for the first time in their history. Herman Cano with the moment that will he and a majority in Rio will hope writes his name into folklore. What can Boca do about it? Medina. Paulo Fernandes. There's one thing we have learned about Boca this season. They are resolute, they are determined. They will do anything to find a way. And Vincula showing wonderful determination.
Look at the difference in Boca now. We've lost a goal. Look how high they're pressing now. Nothing like this beforehand. As I said before, if you're a neutral and you're watching this game, the best thing could happen to this game was Fluminense score. That's what's happened. And look how open it now seems like a real final.
It's exploded into life. John Arias. Here's Ganso. No coincidence that the minute that Ganso stepped in to join those deep in Boca territory, that the accuracy of the passing, the weight of the passing got that little bit better, and finally Boca were unlocked.